You remember this. I made this for a friend of mine who's got the black countertops, and this is Mako's Blue Surf. And this is Mako's Blue Surf, except that on the very top of it, it has Midnight Rain crystals, which is the same basic color as Blue Surf, except for the crystals. Well, let me give you, as you can, you can probably tell that this is a butter bubble. I am coining that phrase. These things have been around, as far as we know, since about the 1850s. And they've always been called that other word that we can't say. My grandmother had one that belonged to her mother. So this would be my great-grandmother, and I'm a grandmother. So we're talking pretty far back, and these things were made it originally came to the United States, of course, on the East Coast, because that's where almost everybody was that many years ago. And the pottery industry flourished in the Carolinas and all up and down the eastern seaboard, really, but mostly concentrated in Carolinas. And these things became popular as far back as the 1850s. And the one that my grandmother had from her mother was probably about that old. I haven't done the math, but when you're talking about 3 generations ago, that's pretty far back there. Anyway, don't need to show anybody how to do this part, because this is pretty obvious, right? You just put it in there, and I don't have to, but I do clean off the edge of it just to keep the water in there from getting messed up. So then you want to put a little bit of water in here, but like I showed you in the other video that we can't watch anymore, I showed you how to sort of estimate how much water you're going to need by figuring out how far down your little thing goes. So I estimated and already measured about 1/3 of a cup of water for this. And I'm going to put a little pinch of salt in here. Now this is the part that you're probably not going to see on any other videos on the same subject matter. The salt, and I'm not going to put all that in there. This is a pinch of salt taught to me by my grandmother, who taught me how to do this and taught me how to do this. This is a pinch of salt. Whatever you can get between your thumb and forefinger, that's a pinch of salt. And especially for that amount of water, it's just fine. So the rest of it, we're going to throw it over our shoulder because it brings good luck. So we're going to stir it up just to dissolve it. What does the salt do? Well, the salt retards the growth of germs and mold. And in one of my other videos, someone made a comment and sent to me, and they were concerned about this being raw clay because this was fired just like that. So I showed you in that other video that we can't watch anymore that if you want to fire this upside down like this, you can. If you want to have glaze on here, that's just fine. You can remove the glaze from here and fire it just exactly like that. No big deal. But I fire mine like this. I use a pretty high fire clay. This has hardly any pores in it. butter is anhydrous. That means it doesn't mix with water. So once you get this, and you will, if with use, you'll get this, well, let's see, how do we say that? Butter will get on this part right here, and it may or may not wash out. It's kind of like getting it seasoned or something. And so this won't absorb water. So anyway, salt in the water, butter in the bubble, put it in there, you're good to go. And you can probably keep that in there for about 4 or 5 days with no problem on your countertop. In my grandmother's house, it was on the counter always. I got the job of refilling it when we had a bunch of people over for dinners, and I was told to change the water every time I filled it. And so this is how she taught me to do it, was with a little bit of salt in here. So that's really the subject of this video, is the salt in the water. That's the one little tip that'll keep you, that'll keep this safe, fresh, and unoxidized, which is what causes it to go rinse. It is when it's exposed to air, it oxidizes. So that's about all I have to say. So thanks for watching, and thanks if you watched the other one too. Okay? Love ya. Bye.